Okay, so hi there. Hi, my name is Eytan. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Yoovi, and I'm going to tell you about the story of Yoovi, or how we raised funding and got paying customers without writing a line of code. Feel free to interrupt me anytime. My ADHD is exceptionally suitable for that. And let's start. So, you know what? Another thing, like when talking about lean startup, it's a bit like talking how to raise your kid. Like there is no one truth. Every person has his own flavor of raising his kids. And startup is like a kid in some aspects. And founding your startup and the way you do it is also like very attached to your personality. So I don't think that there are any rules. I want to tell you things that worked for me. Let's start. So a bit about myself. I'm a Junction alumni. Junction is an accelerator in the south of Tel Aviv. Yoovi is actually my third company. I had a non-startup company called Eytan Levit. We didn't sell furniture. We were like a business directory for the furniture business in Israel, and we dominated. Like we killed the Pei Zahav in that category. And we had sales of a few millions per year and like 20 employees. And I sold my part there. My second startup was Usites, which I will tell you a bit later about it. And Yoovi is so the second company was my first startup. Like we raised money and stuff. And Yoovi is my third company and my second startup. And I've also got 2 kids. And the presentation will be full of pictures of my kids when I didn't know where to put a picture. So I hope you enjoy. So Yoovi's story. Yoovi's story started in September, October 2012. It actually started when Usites ended. Usites was a company I founded after Eytan Levit. For me, it was a very traumatic experience to close Usites because I put a lot of personal money in Usites, like more or less everything I had. And we also raised $350,000. And I was like sure that this is going to be my big thing because Usites was a direct continuation of Eytan Levit. Instead of having people doing marketing and building websites, we said, let's do like Wix, but with integrated marketing for small businesses and much simpler way to build websites. That was Usites. Like our value proposition was build a website, Facebook page, mobile website, and distribute your content around all the content websites, everything automatically. It really sucked. Like it was a really bad idea. Or at least the way we implemented and marketed it. Usites for $350,000 had 10 paying customers that paid $10 per month. So yeah.
Why it failed, like it's really...
Yeah, exactly. So why it failed was exactly the question I asked myself. No, honestly, like this is the purpose of this slide. I closed the startup. I sat a shiva. Like I hope it's not offending, but for me, I think that closing a startup after working for, I don't know, 1.5, 2 years on it, like crazy and putting a lot of things in the side, it's like losing somebody in a way. Okay, it's not so big, but I was really sad. So I said, I'll sit Shiva on this. I sat in my house for 1 week, didn't shave. Really honestly, like I sat in my chair, didn't move. Ate a lot of toffee candies. Like until today, my kids remember that. They came home and saw a lot of toffee candies, like wraps. The whole purpose of that thing was to have, like I cried. I gave myself an emotional place for this failure. But the most important thing was to learn from it because it was really a big blow and I really wanted to learn and to not repeat the same mistakes. Now, it was really easy for me to blame. Like, okay, so what went wrong? Everything. Like there is an article by Jessica Livingstone from Y Combinator, Why Startups Die. So if you go like article after article, we were there. Founder disputes, check. Building something no one wants, check. Doing premature biz dev, like I tried to do biz dev with Kenshu that do like this automatic PPC and with yellow pages, like mini yellow pages in the UK, and it was premature. We had like this offer to be acqui-hired, which we went for it. In the end, we found out that it wasn't such a big offer, and in the end, they didn't want us, and our round fell through. Like the end of YouSites, by the way, was really dramatic. Like we had another round of $475,000 almost closed, but one of our previous investors wanted to block it, and then we got this acquisition offer, and I went to New York, and I came back, and we refused, and then we said yes. And then I told my investors, like, look, we're not going for the additional investment. We're going to sell the company. Because everybody wanted to sell, and it was already yuck. And I said, fuck it, let's do it. And this is my place. It's going to be really difficult. Anyway, and then the acquisition didn't go through, and we didn't have money to raise. The acquisition didn't go through. Like YouSites was that I wanted to continue, and then it was really the most disgusting way possible. But all of those things, like I wanted to go out of this Shiva period and thinking period without blaming anybody, because it's really easy. The investor is not good. The co-founders are not good. The guys that wanted to acquire us didn't do the due diligence in the right process. They like had a contract and then they did the due diligence, which is supposed to be a bit the other way around. Like we shaked hands and mazal v'bracha and everything, and then like, oh no, sorry, we didn't talk with your partners and stuff like that. I wanted to find the one thing that I could do really different, and that was under my personal responsibility. So one, I guess, like I really was more careful in choosing my co-founders for Yoovi, my co-founder for Yoovi. It really took a lot of time. But the other thing was that I really connected with the saying that we didn't build something that people wanted. Like we didn't get this magnetic drift that when you build something that people want, it somehow goes more easily with your customers. We had a really tough time selling YouSites on the phone, it was supposed to be a self-service website. We had a really tough time just selling it. Customers didn't want it. So the question is, how do I build something people want? Which is a really challenging question, and that was what I set up to do, and that was the things I wanted to change. So after saying, okay, now I want to focus on building, on understanding what people want, I want to do things differently. I'm a programmer. I'm programming since I was 9 years old. So the most easy thing for me is to write code. And I said, no, I want to stop writing code for a bit. I want to go learn, educate myself. I read Lean Startup. Like there is an audiobook which I really recommend of Lean Startup that Eric Ries is reading it in his voice. By the way, I really recommend audiobooks in general. Like the authors read their books a lot of times, and it really adds more information and context. So I read the blogs and books and running Lean and stuff. And I understood that, and I also went to a lecture of Dave McClure. Long story short, I said, okay, I'm starting a new startup, but this time I'm going with a different approach. I'm not starting with an idea. I'm looking for a problem, and a painful one. B, I am not going to pivot from idea to idea while changing my target audience. I'm going to have one target audience, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to choose a target audience that I am within that group of people. Now, I'm a parent. I've got 2 kids, and I love them, and I also think a lot about parenting, and it's something that it's part of me. Like, it's important for me. So I said I want to build something for parents. So that was another thing. Like I said, so looking for a painful problem, and I'm targeting a target audience and I'm staying on it. And I'm, from as far as I can see, I can move problems. I can even move solutions, but I will stay in the same target audience. So, and it would be parents. The third thing was that I want to do something mobile. This is not Lean Startup-y, this is just my personal preference, that I was a web guy for a long time. And I decided that the world is going mobile, which is right. And so I wanted to get into mobile, and like I love my iPhone and I wanted to write code for it. And starting a startup is the best way to write code for your iPhone. So I was there looking for a problem. Now, how do you find a problem? Like it's difficult. Like, how do you find a problem? But I think the first thing to do is to just get into this problem finding state of mind, which is very subtle, it's very gentle, it's almost spiritual, but you just need to start looking for problems. And it's just listening more to the world. Like suddenly when I was in this problem state of mind, when somebody complained, I listened as a startup entrepreneur. But honestly, if you think about it, like when people complained that they hate driving because they can't get their directions okay, so that's the problem Waze solved, right? Like it solved a real problem that people complained about and had this real life experience, and it was part of their life. So I was looking for this. I was also inspecting myself, like when do I feel uncomfortable? And that's how the first problem like came to mind. I think it took me a week to figure it out. I took my kids out of kindergarten. They were both in the same preschool. And like, I said to myself, not again going to the Gina, to the, the local playground. Like in Namal Tel Aviv, already been there like 100 times. I'm like, not again, let's do something interesting. Let's go, I don't know, to a show or something interesting. And then I felt, and there is no time, because you're taking your kids and they're like, rah, 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 dad, and stuff, and you don't have any time to react and like, okay, I need to decide what I'm doing. And I felt distress in that moment, and I thought that, so I wrote it. I wrote the problem which I think I had, which was, it's difficult for parents to find cool things to do with their kids. Okay? That was the first problem I thought I identified. I also, because I read in like this blog, Lean Analytics or something like that, about like dividing your problems to sub-problems. So I also divided it to, like, it's difficult for me to do it when I take my kids out of kindergarten, like what's now. Also, what's good, because I don't, like it's a precious time for me. I take my kids two times in the middle of the week, like 2 times, and their mother 3 times. So it's like 2 times, it's important for me. I don't want to go to a place that they'll suffer and I'll suffer. And also, like, it should be kid specific, because I don't know how many of you are parents, but like a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old have really different opinions of the world and stuff, different stuff that they enjoy. And contrary to what I've done in the past, like, I guess everybody can now imagine a solution, right? Think about it, an iPhone app with a map, right? You see yourself in the middle, and you see like flags of things to do around, and maybe in the sign-up process, you input the ages of your kids, right? Or maybe you do a Facebook Connect. So if your friends check into places, you know about it. Like the solution part, thinking about the solution is honestly like so easy. Yeah, I mean, it's like trivial, but I didn't want, and I could go and learn how to program on an iPhone and start building it. But since I was scarred, like since I was, really, like I wanted to do things differently, I said, okay, so now I'm gonna talk with my customers before I'm sure this is a real problem. Now, I wanted to talk with them to make sure one thing. Do you know what was that thing? Do you have a guess why I wanted to talk with them? But I don't have a service yet. I wanted to check that it's a painful problem for them. that it's a painful problem, that it's a problem that if I touch, they say, ow. Really, like it's that simple. Think about a person, anybody here lives in Ezor HaSharon and works in Tel Aviv? Yes? So do you want to talk about the pkakim of Kvish 5?
I don't have.
You don't have them?
Motorcycle.
Okay, yeah. So you have a solution.
I don't have pain.
So I lived in Sde Chemed for a while, near Kfar Saba. You know, and my office were near Canon Island. Find someone with that problem of standing in traffic every day for 1 hour, and you will hear pain in his voice. His whole demeanor will show you that it's a painful problem for him. Like, he will describe the problem in a very real way. He will have a lot of examples and like horror stories about it. So that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to start to talk with other parents and to see if maybe others have this problem or not. So I started talking with parents. I started talking with parents that were with my kids in the kindergarten. I started to look for parents on Facebook that aren't connected, that I don't have like this personal connection with them, because maybe the personal connection creates an artifact, because I'm nice and people would like to leratzot oti. So I wanted also to put this to the side. I also reached out for American parents, because Israel and the US, which is probably the main market for most of the things I do, which by the way today I'm like China is becoming really interesting, at least for Israeli startups. So I started to talk with American parents. And the thing, and then I already started to learn about problem interview from Running Lean. I'll tell you my version of the problem interview. I had like 2 different tools when I came to talk with people about their problems. The first one was like, just to be a private detective. Think about ideally, I could put a secret camera on all of my potential customers and put a heart rate monitor that will measure their pain and like see the things they do and how they react emotionally to them. But I can't, okay? I can't. So I'm looking for the next best thing. So I can't ask people directly, and I think I'm now contradicting a bit the previous guy, so I don't know, this is my truth and what I learned. But I think you can't ask someone, what's your problem? Like, it's a too direct question. It's very, people lie, and not because they're bad, because they don't know the truth about themselves, which is also something very spiritual that I found out using startups. Like, we sometimes don't know what we want, but only trying stuff, experiencing them, we can know the truth. Behavior. So behavior is the key. So I started asking people about, the first thing was to ask them about their behavior. So I started meeting with parents, moms, dads. And like a problem interview went something like, hi, so thank you for having the time with me. By the way, in the beginning, I gave them books as a present. Then I stopped. I found out that it's not a good thing. So hi, my name is Eytan. Thanks for having the time with me. I'd like to collect a bit of information about you. But before we start, I want to make something clear. I really need you to be honest with me, because if you try to appease me, if you try to be nice to me, I might have the wrong information and it would be bad for my startup. Okay, I would put this on the table for her or him to know that I'm looking for the God-honest truth. Be brutal with me. The second thing was that I would ask them, so I would like take the whole demographic. So how many kids do you have? What are their ages? And then I would go to the tachlis. I would look for behavior in the vicinity of the problem. So I guess the problem happens after they take their kids out of kindergarten. So I would ask, okay, so who takes your kid out of kindergarten? Oh, your wife takes them 4 times a week and you take them 1 time a week. Okay, interesting. So could you tell me, like, what did you do in the previous week with your kids? Oh, we went to the park. Okay, how did you decide that you go to the park? Like, the whole interview I'm conducting isn't about his opinions. I generally don't believe him. Again, not because my target audience are liars, but because they're humans. There's also a famous Steve Jobs quote, like, I'll know it when I'll see it. It also has something to do with it. So I would talk with them and get their, understand the behavior. That was the first thing. The second thing that I did was actually to use the method from Running Lean, which was to describe the problems, like to come to a dad or to a mom and tell him, well, I talked with other parents, and what I found is that parents have the problem that it's difficult for them to find cool things to do with their kids. And I found that parents have like 3 main problems, A, B, and C, and I would describe them. And I would say, do you have this problem? Okay, I would ask this direct question. Do you have this problem? If my target audience would say, if the person I'm interviewing would say yes, I would ask, okay, examples. I mean, tell me when, tell me how, tell me why. I would go into the behavior and I would go deep. I would not, like, it's very tempting. People say, yes, I have this problem. Sure, I have this problem. Okay, could you describe, like, when was the last time you had this problem? You know, one month ago or stuff like that. Another interesting thing I've done was to look for replacements, for solutions. Like, if you have a problem, you're probably solving it. Like, he's driving on a motorcycle because he knows there is traffic. People solve problems. Sometimes in inefficient ways. Like, people want MP3s to listen to music, and there is no way to buy them, so they will download them from Napster, right? Even although that it's illegal. Like, people will do even high-friction solutions if they have a painful problem. So, as you can maybe understand from the context, I invalidated, like, I decided that this is not a really painful problem. By the way, American parents really don't connect to this problem at all. The reason I invalidated the problem was no physical signs. Like, I talked with, I guess, 30, 40 parents, and nobody was like pissed off about this problem. Nobody had this energy, which is not scientific, but in the end, like, we're entrepreneurs, we should also feel stuff. So I didn't feel pain. I didn't feel pain. I was talking with people, they were relaxed, happy, they didn't talk about a painful problem. Another thing was there was no replacement. Like, I didn't see people say, yeah, I use Google, or I use Romper, which I found out there is a startup with a solution to solve this problem. I didn't find anybody using it. And I talked with, like, a nice sample, okay? Also, there was nobody was able to rank the sub-problems. If you remember, there are like these 3 sub-problems. So nobody told me, yeah, you know, the most difficult thing for me is that I don't know what's good. I know where to go, I know what things are going on, but I don't know what's good. Nobody even understood this divide to sub-problems, which was a weird signal, but it was a signal. And a very important thing to know, and this is the trick. This is the trick. Everybody said, or almost everybody said, it sounds real, it sounds good, it sounds like a real problem. It sounds like, of course, that they quickly understood that maybe I'm planning to do like this app that helps you find what to do with your kids, and everybody like, yeah, do it, and stuff. And that's the biggest risk. You know, as entrepreneurs, the reason that when we raise funding, we usually give only 25% of our company, like in each round, is that we're the biggest investors in our company. We invest our lives and our passion and our time and our relationship and our like social karma. Like, people believe in you when you start a startup, and then when you fail, if you fail, so you lose belief. People believe with you less, believe in you less. So we're the biggest investors, and it's so easy to be fooled by all these, yeah, why not? Because it sounds good. There's even like Paul Graham, one of the founders of Y Combinator, which is this famous accelerator. He says like there is what's called sitcom idea. That he's saying, if we now had to write a sitcom comedy, and we had to describe this guy that has a startup, we would probably think of some kind of idea, right? Like, I don't know, someone that has a lens for video cameras in presentations that is somehow I don't know. Like, we would, pretty fast think of an idea, and it would sound okay. It would sound like maybe, I don't know, who knows, right? Airbnb took off, who knew? Like, what? Dropbox took off, like, what? File sharing so solved already? Ideas sometimes sound good, and like everybody's, I don't know, you know, who knows? Okay. So then I already knew that, like, the previous problem was invalidated. I didn't believe in it anymore. And I was this is like Sderot Rothschild. And I was walking in Sderot Rothschild. And I got a phone call from a mom that I met in Diada, like a few days ago, and had this problem interview with her. And she had my phone. And she called me and told me, you know what? If you're already doing a startup, you gotta help me with all my photos. And she started describing like this scenario where she has her, I think, iPhone, and her husband has an Android, and like it's really difficult for her to sync the photos to her iPhoto on her Mac because it's also slow. And then she needs to send all the photos to his parents that use email and to her parents that use whatnot else. And she described this and she talked about it. And I heard in her voice pain. And I was like, this is what I was looking for. I was looking for pain. And then I started to also realize about myself. The previous idea, by the way, one of my epiphanies where I told to myself, well, I didn't ever look in Google what to do after kindergarten. So maybe it's really not a good idea. It was also one of my realizations. On this case, I immediately remembered all the times my wife told me, give me your phone and all the photos and all the discussions we had. And I suddenly saw all the energy it took from me, and so I saw the problem. I wrote it. It is complicated and time-consuming for parents to manage their photos. And I looked at my camera roll, and this was my camera roll. As you can see, a lot of photos of the same frame, a lot of photos. And that's the issue. Parents take a lot of photos. And I describe these three sub-problems: filtering, sharing, and printing. It's difficult to filter what are the best photos. It is complicated to share them, because you need to share a lot of photos. It's not like one-one. You need to share a group, and it needs to be private. And printing is also a huge pain, because you need to print a lot of photos, sometimes for the kindergarten. You also want to give gifts, and it's always complicated. That's what I thought. And I started to talk with parents. And the good thing, and this is a real advantage of focusing on a target audience. Notice, I didn't go to a different target audience. I had my network that I already established on my previous round of interviews. Those people were accessible to me. I started to understand them more. And I started talking with them. I also looked for more parents, more Israeli and American. And what I found out, that it's a real problem. And the reason I found it was that almost every parent, okay, let me reframe it, almost every mom that I talked with, really shared the whole story of managing her photos in a really passionate way. And really a lot of pain points and different stuff that bothered her. And it was so clear to see, especially because I had my previous problem and I had this contrast between them. Replacements. Everybody tried to solve their problems. So people did print photos, but they went to print shops in Israel. In the US, they used Walmart. People used Dropbox, WhatsApp, Viber, SMS. But thing is, you could say, okay, so there are a lot of competitors, and you're right. But thing is, everybody was unsatisfied by it and really engaged about the problems. Every one of those things that I mentioned, every one of those replacements, those solutions, has serious problems for parents. And the beautiful thing is that by talking with the parents, I also learned what are the problems with each and every one of these tools. You can now Name a tool, I will tell you what's the problem. Like Dropbox, you can't see it from your phone easily. Like your parents won't be able to use it easily. WhatsApp really reduces the quality of your photos. If you add people to your group after you created it, like they won't see all the previous photos. It doesn't save a state. It also has problems with the uncles that get a lot of notifications. Like I started to discover so many problems around all the existing replacement. It was amazing. Another thing was the ranking. Everybody knew how to rank. Like some people had printing as their top priority problem. Like, yeah, I want to print. I have so many pictures, and I don't have time to do Lupa or Shutterfly. Or there was a mom telling me, yeah, I have this Yom HaMishpacha in the gun, and I need to print pictures for Yom HaMishpacha, and I don't have time. I'm like a career woman, and everybody has had their problems, and they knew how to rank it. And the amazing thing for me was the referrals. Like in the previous problem interviews, nobody referred me to anybody. I didn't even think it's a possibility. Here, I was overwhelmed. Like there was one American mom, Jackie. She, like when I just talked with her about the problem, she was so excited. My phone almost burst into flames from her excitement, really. And like, she hooked me up, not hooked me up, she scheduled like 20 phone meetings for me with her friends, other mom friends. And like using Facebook, she sent me, Jennifer, tomorrow, 2 p.m. Jaina, Wednesday, 1 p.m. And like for me, and a large amount, it was mind-blowing. It was even more mind-blowing that those moms also wanted to talk and also had a lot of passion. And so that's how I decided that this is a painful problem. I gotta tell you guys, it was difficult for me. Like photo sharing is a difficult place to be in. Photo management, sharing, it's like such a commodity, such a thing that people look down on me like, photo sharing, yak. Like, you're a substandard entrepreneur, maybe. Time will tell. Okay, next step, join the junction. Created a prototype. Took me around, I guess, 1-2 weeks of thought, 2 days of work. Yeah.
You was alone or you already had a partner?
I was alone. The question was if I was alone, then, as a single founder, or did I already find a co-founder? I didn't find a co-founder after I raised money. And also then I didn't find a co-founder. Only after laying out the culture of Yoovi, which aims to be the best place for parents to work in Israel. This brought me to the television. They interviewed me because nobody understood who is the crazy guy that wants to hire parents instead of young people, really. And like the market wrote about it in the Haaretz. And this really helped me find a co-founder. It's difficult to find co-founders that is a parent. It is one of the things I found out. There are not a lot of parent entrepreneurs doing consumer. A lot of parent entrepreneurs usually do heavy B2B or enterprise stuff. Like there aren't a lot of parents doing apps, which is, I think, an opportunity. Because not a lot of entrepreneurs doing consumer apps understand the problems of parents. Think about it. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. So I built this prototype. Now, here I'm lying. I lied to you in the beginning. I told you how I raised money and got paying customers without writing a line of code. Okay? So I did write HTML, which is arguably coding, right? And also, everything I did here is standard jQuery mobile. You can do it with Codica. If you know Codica, C-O-D-I-Q-A, I really recommend you get to know this tool. Today, you can even create native apps with Codica, like HTML web apps. It already wraps itself with that, what's his name? And you can do, so I just did it alone, phone app, yeah. So I just did it alone. The initial version was only these 3 screens. So this is how an initial solution I thought would be, so I said, so if these are the problems, I'll create an album for my family, Eytan Levit. It will have all the photos. Adding a photo, tapping on this, would open my camera roll. I would be able to just choose the photos I want to share. Done. By the way, in the prototype, it didn't do anything. Like you would choose. This whole photo picker in iPhone is one line of HTML, input type equals file. You would choose, and that's it. You would return to here. No picture would be added in my prototype. And there would be another tab called Members, which would depict all the members in the album. Saba Yossi, Savta Orit, Saba Shimon, Savta Shoshana, Adod Doron, Ve'adod Anava. And the idea was that everybody could add photos to the album. And everybody could see the photos in the album. Another thing I did in the prototype was a button that didn't have a screen behind it called Print. Okay? That was my prototype. And in this stage, I got out of the building. Like, okay, I was out of the building all the time, but I got again out of the building after writing really like 1 week thinking about it, 2 days coding it, could use Codica, and then going again to meet my target audience. Okay, wait. And then I started meeting with moms in Diada. Yeah.
What about the problem that previously you have showed us that you took a lot of pictures, and really this is like you take the same picture like 5 times. So what is the best picture? You know, you waste time to choose. You know, what is the best picture from the 5 that you have already done?
So I thought, like, I didn't know what would be the solution. What? Okay, the question was, in this prototype, where is the solution to solve the filtering problem? Which is, like, how do I choose the best photos out of a set of photo? So it's a great question. I actually didn't really solve it. I did do kind of a solution, like, for everybody except the person that is choosing the photos. Like, using, I would show this photo picker, and the person would do these stuff. And I said, like, I had a few approaches here. That was part of the idea of this prototype. I wanted to ask people, and I asked them, what would you say if I would choose the best photos for you? I asked these kind of questions when I had this prototype to see what is the best solution. By the way, today I think the best solution is UI-based, not algorithm-based. And that's based on my conversation with parents. And I will elaborate further.
Like UI, like how the picture is?
Like, a solution for the filtering problem would be that an algorithm will choose the best photos, right?
Possible.
A possible solution. So that was something I wanted to ask parents about and to see the reactions.
What they think?
Well, most of them refused to have an algorithm choose their photos because, like, there are a lot of reasons. Sometimes the best photo isn't the one that is like the most focused one. Sometimes the smile of the kid is actually in a photo that looks a bit. It's very personal. It's very personal. The question I asked was simple. Would you mind if I would choose the best photos for you? I would suggest. And the overwhelming answer was no. Also, I must say that in the process, I decided that, like, this is a smaller scale. Yeah, this is the smallest problem of the problems. Like, sharing and printing. I think these are the 2 biggest problems. There are also more problems that I discovered, sub-problems. Backup is still a huge problem, amazingly.
What do you mean by backup?
Like, people are still, a lot of people don't know how to set up the whole backup thing correctly. They don't feel confident about it. Backing up your photos.
How to save them, like?
How to back them up, your photos. If your phone dies,
okay,
then all your photos are dead.
well, probably, I think that most of people, you know, save it to the computer once in a while.
Well, no. That's them syncing your phone to the computer is quite challenging for a lot of moms, for example. And dads don't give a shit. Honestly, don't give a shit. By the way, I even find a sub-segment. Moms that are married to a high-tech dad usually don't have all these problems. Really, honestly, it's amazing. Like the guy, a lot of times, set up this crazy setup. Like he synced her phone with Dropbox, his phone with Dropbox. Dropbox are shared, paid the premium. You know, he did stuff. He solved the problem, which was a great signal, because it shows that there is a problem. But moms I met here in Israeli Center that works in an insurance company, and her husband has no touch to the computer industry, and they're both not tech savvy, which is most of the world. Like most of the world doesn't really feel and they're even afraid of it a bit. So they were still afraid. She was still afraid that all her photos will disappear.
You keep them on your servers?
Yeah.
It's okay for them?
Yeah, totally. So, so I went to the ADA to start showing it for moms. I just went to the ADA, saw moms, and started saying stuff like, "Hi, I'm Eytan. I'm a startup entrepreneur. I've developed this app. I'd really appreciate if you could lend me 10 minutes of your time. I want to show and get feedback from you." And then I would sit with moms, buy them coffee, you know, let them feel comfortable, and see how. And I would do the problem interview and something called the solution interview.
What is the ADA?
What?
What is the ADA?
The ADA is a coffee shop for moms, for parents. Yeah, for parents. But dads don't give a shit. So it's for moms. Usually, like, you know, let's not. I'm the 15% of the dads that do, I think. Also, in parallel, I wrote a Facebook post saying this. Dear friends, ask for help. In the last 1.5 months, I'm working on a new startup company. As a new dad, I found out that us parents take a large amount of photos of our kids, and that then sharing those photos, combining photos from different cameras, backing them up, organizing them in albums, and then printing takes a lot of time. Time that we as parents don't have. Yesterday, I finished working on an initial prototype solving these problems, and I'm looking to meet with moms, show them the solution, get feedback, and maybe have them as the first customers of the product. If you know young moms and can connect me to them, it's a 20-minute meeting where I present what I've built, ask questions, and listen. I would appreciate if you could send me a message using Facebook or email. Because it's very important for me, I'm paying money for Facebook to highlight this status. I would appreciate if you would like it, so your friends will also see it and would like to help a startup, a young startup, in the beginning of his way. Thank you. That was the Facebook post. And after writing it, like my phone didn't stop ringing. I then had, yeah.
I just wanted to ask, how did you deduce that your target audience are moms?
Because of the problem interviews. Maybe I didn't say it, but the problem.
First question is,
Yeah, it was clear that. Okay, the question was, how did I understand that moms are my primary target audience? So the answer is that from my problem interviews, it was overwhelmingly clear that moms are mostly the target audience that really cares about this whole thing, that they care about sharing the photos. A lot of time, the grandparents talk with the moms, ask them for the photos, not the dads, the moms. They're like the address for it in the family. Overwhelmingly, it was really a non-brainer. Now, this Facebook post created, today it's like 555 likes and 123 shares, which was very unusual for me. Like, the best I could get before was 20 likes and 1 share or 2 share. It was crazy. And my phone didn't stop, like emails and Facebook messages and comments. And yeah, you had a question?
Yeah, did the Facebook post include the photo as well?
No, only the text. The question was if the Facebook post included a photo, and the answer was no. Yes?
I don't understand. What is different in the service you developed than Instagram or uploading a picture to Facebook?
Okay. You know what's amazing? I have an answer. You know, no, really, that's what's exciting for me. I understand. Okay, the question was, what's the difference between this service and uploading photos to Facebook or using Instagram? And my answer was, what?
Or Picasa for them.
Or Picasa. And I can go service by service and explain why they're unsuitable for this use case, for this specific use case. Facebook is public. Yes, I know. You can configure a private Facebook group. I know. But not everybody knows that. Most people don't know or know how to configure it. It's not easy for them to do. And also, Facebook is perceived as public. People are afraid. Their pictures are on Facebook, afraid. No reason, like, you don't need this specific. They're afraid of it. This is where I'm interested at. Instagram, public. And the funny thing about Instagram is that it's one photo at a time. And as parent, when you share, you usually share 10, 20, 30 pictures, a batch of pictures. Because you went on a Saturday with your kids, you were in the park, you have 10, 20, 30 pictures to share. Doing one by one on Instagram, you will put the best of there. When you will travel and you will have this Kodak moment, Instagram is for the Kodak moments.
So the biggest idea was the privacy, because Facebook changed their policy and it's never anymore private. None of the pictures are private anymore. It's not private.
People don't even know it. The perception is that Facebook is public.
So the biggest thing is privacy?
I want to take you one step back. You're going to the solution. I want you to see this Facebook post as something else. This post talks about a problem. That's the only thing he says. He says, there is a problem, I have a solution, let's talk. But I describe the problem in a way that connects to the people because they have the problem. And that was the thing I was so looking for something that I would tell somebody and he would say, yeah, totally, I have this problem. And he would engage with me. Because here, I still didn't show them the solution. By the way, if I'm honest, and I am honest, Yoovi isn't viral yet. Yoovi hasn't yet reached today. It hasn't been launched yet. But it hasn't publicly launched. This is happening 2 weeks from now, by the way. But we haven't still reached the success that I would tell you our solution is validated. I am not sure that the current solution of Yoovi that I'm going to launch 2 weeks from now. I know it's good. I have a lot of good data about it. Until I won't see a lot of people, like hundreds of thousands of people use it, like the DAO/MAO, like daily active users divided by monthly active users being 25% and above, our viral growth factor being above 1. Only when I'll see these things, I will tell you, we validated the solutions. So I'm here still talking also with my customers about the problem. And that was what amazed me the most. I didn't write a solution here. There is no thing, I'm not implying what will be the solution. All I'm doing is describing a problem in a way that makes sense. And by the way, in the place where my customers are, like one of my insights is that parents are at Facebook. And you know what I found out? Moms for kids under 5 are the biggest sharers on Facebook by a factor above other populations. I didn't know that. I found it out because I'm so into my target audience now and I'm becoming an expert on it. Yes?
Well, I do understand the difference between your service and Instagram and Facebook. But what about Cluster, Cloudflare?
Okay, so
which is basically the same thing.
Okay, so the question was, I understand what is the difference between Instagram and Facebook. I don't understand the difference between Cluster and Cloudflare.
No, I do understand why your service is I
You
rephrase
understood
it.
each other.
Okay.
You guys understood.
I didn't understand. I didn't describe the question. Like, you understand how it's different from Facebook and Instagram, but you don't see how Cluster and Cloudflare don't solve these problems already. Okay. So, one, this post was published on, I don't know where, December 2012. Cluster, 12. A year ago. Yeah. Cluster was founded on January 2013. A. Cloudflare, like Ashmuria's startup, he started in 2007 and closed it before the mobile era. By the way, I forgot to tell you guys, this is the right time. I called Ashmuria on the phone. Like, there is, do you know this service called Clarity.fm? So I paid the crazy $7 per minute to talk with him. The guy who wrote, like, I called this guy who wrote the book, Running Lean. Because in his book, he's talking about a photo sharing application. That's the example. So I said, I'm doing this guy's methodology. I'm targeting parents. I'm doing like a product that sounds the same. I gotta talk with him because maybe I'm losing something here. Maybe he will tell me not to do it. And I called him when I had this. Like, he installed this, He went with his browser to yoovi.site44.com, and which was the URL of this prototype. And he saw this, and we talked over the phone for like 40 minutes. It cost me a lot of money. So regarding his service, like, it was done before mobile, and he actually really encouraged me to do it. He said it's really exciting. He also encouraged me to do something else, which I will show you in a minute. Was there any other question? Somewhere in the back? Okay, continuing. Okay, full of emails and stuff. I'm hiring this personal assistant to help me just schedule all the meetings with all the moms. And I'm starting to meet with moms, and I'm doing problem interview, solution interview. And I'm doing what Ashmuria told me to do. Ashmuria told me to do, get money. Ask them for money. Oh, you know what? I forgot to show you. Okay, these are like examples of emails I got from moms I didn't know. Like, moms I didn't personally know. Hi, Eytan, read your post. Love to hear and to meet and hear. I bump into this problem a lot. Good luck. Hi, I'm a young mom for a baby, which is 9 months old. Since he was born, I have more than 1,000 photos. And this is additionally to the photos that my mom has. This is how it is for a first child and a first grandson. We haven't yet printed a photo. And then there is this Siman Kriya. Hi, I saw your post on Facebook about photos. I'm a young mom that takes a lot of photos, intends to develop them, intends to pick them up from the store, intends to organize them in an album. I want to do them on, I intend to do them on Lupa, intend. What do you have to offer? Thanks, Tali. Hi, Eytan. I'm a mom for 2 and for 2 more on the way. I take a lot of pictures, move them, and organize them in folders on my computer. I use albums on Lupa. Essentially, I invest a lot of hours in documenting. I would really love to help. This matter is very important for me. In parentheses, if you would like, I would be happy to join 2 friends that feel the same as I do. Referral. Have good luck. Hi, Eytan. I volunteer happily to the project. I have hundreds of photos of the little misses, and indeed only 2 times I got to get to everything and to print organized album. I would be more than happy to hear about a magic solution. Again, she's talking about the problem and about a solution. She doesn't know even what is the solution. And then I met with all the moms. I actually met with 25 moms. I stopped. Why? Because I felt I stopped learning new stuff. Like, after meeting with all of them, I stopped learning new stuff. And that's where I stopped. Like, I want to learn. This is my objective. I don't want to. And I showed them, like, I talked about a problem, showed the solution. Solution interview, just really short. You go feature, ask if it makes sense. What problem does it solve? A great question to ask is saying, I gotta remove one button. I don't have time. I gotta remove one button. What button should I remove? Asking this to your customer, it's an amazing question because it makes them prioritize. And like, it's another way to see like the priority of the solutions, the problems they want to be solved. And in the end, I would say, after all this, I would be really selling. I'm not selling until the end. Then, like almost the end, then I would say, okay, would you pay 20 shekels for this app? And 20 said yes. And then I asked, okay, would you like to pay now to join the private beta group? And 20 said yes. And then I would say, okay, is it okay if I take a picture, like a video of you paying me and describing why you're paying me? I will show it only to my investors. And 20 said yes. And then I had like this collection of videos where you see that she's taking money out of her wallet. And I'm taking her, I said, fuck it. I'm going to show them that people paid. I'm not going with the half story. I'm going to my investors and I'm showing them that they paid. Thank you. And each and every one of them describes her personal angle. And like this one, the thing where I was the most afraid of, honestly, was WhatsApp. Because WhatsApp is a bit close to like what I designed. And so like her family was using WhatsApp. So I asked her, how do you share photos today? WhatsApp. So why do you why are you buying this app? I would like tackle matkil otam, try to convince them not to do so, to just make sure also for myself. Again, I'm the biggest investor. And I had much more videos. I upload them on YouTube on like unlisted. And then after having this, I started raising money from investors. And it was like the easiest. I raised $200,000. I would raise 300 today. Like it was a mistake. I raised too little. I think like one of since this, I made a lot of mistakes. I gotta tell you, like I made a lot of new mistakes. What? No, like you learn all the time. So for example, I didn't take into account like when I raised $200,000. I thought that we will develop only an iPhone version, and on this we would prove some things about our metrics and our growth model. But turns out that when you have small groups, if like someone has Android, the mom or the grandparent has Android, and it's very common in the US and in Israel, today in 2013, that group won't form. They will still use, like that's really important, extremely. So that's why we're late on our schedules, we raised too little money, we're like killing, like, working really difficult because we needed to suddenly develop an Android version and we had to hire external people. But I raised $200,000, really short, like it took me not a long time, I guess 2 months, which is short. Yes.
How many out of the 20 people that you asked to?
25. 20 paid.
Oh, so 20 out of 25.
20 out of 25. The 5 that didn't pay, do you know why they didn't pay? It was interesting. No. What?
Android.
Exactly. They were Android users. And that was their answer.
So you should have guessed.
I'm an Android user. I don't pay for apps. It was an amazing answer for me. Like, who knew? Like, I knew, but I wasn't sure. What?
I thought you only had an iPhone prototype.
I went with my phone. I didn't like install it on their phone. I couldn't. It doesn't really work. I went with my phone and let them use it on my iPhone.
So, I mean, you were signing the map for beta.
What?
You were signing in the map for private beta.
Yeah.
And you only had an iPhone app.
I also, Yoovi is also free. Yoovi is also free, which after a few, I started saying after I took the money, I would say, okay, take the money back. Like, honestly, I just wanted, and yeah, it was a bit uncomfortable. But, this is what Ash Moria told me. This is the behavior. Someone giving you money, even 20 shekels, is a behavior. It proves something. Does it prove everything? No. But when I came to investors, I was different from other entrepreneurs because I didn't come with an idea that I believe in, right? We all believe. Like, think about it. Investors all the time see startup entrepreneurs that are passionate, smart, capable, with interesting ideas, and that they're believing in these ideas. Okay? So, like, these are everybody. But I came with an edge. I came with paying customers. I came with videos. Like, my presentation, by the way, went like this. Target audience, busy moms, problems, taking a lot of pictures, blah, blah, blah. Then, how do I know it's a real problem? This slide, and then this slide, okay? Showing my investors that these are real problems. Then, solution, showing them a demo, like on my phone, showing on the screen. And then, how do I know the solution is good? Because I've got paying customers. Do you want to see? And I edited like a 1 minute video of like the top 3 or 4 interesting moms. And like I just showed a few seconds from each one describing why she just bought my product. And then I would like blurb something about a business model, which is really, I'm telling you, like in pre-seed stages, you don't need to prove anything. You don't need to prove everything. Like you're not raising a round A that you're now saying, yeah, I'm now going to scale up. I'm now going to, I don't know, prove my business model. No, you're a pre-seed or seed. You need to show that you have something right, that you're in the right direction and you have a direction for how you're going to make money. The story needs to be okay, but you don't have to prove it.
Why did you decide to look for crowdsourcing or for a government grant?
Excuse me?
Why did you decide to look for crowdfunding or even government grants? Yeah, incubators. I mean, you bootstrapped this for sure.
Well, I'll tell you honestly. Okay, the question was, why didn't I go and look for government funding or crowdfunding? So crowdfunding, as what I understand, is for physical products. And the people that are on our Kickstarter are geeks that love gadgets. By the way, the launch of Yoovi, we're actually simulating Kickstarter for parents by using emails. You'll see. 2 weeks from now, there's a video we made, like a Kickstarter-ish video that is exactly like trying to simulate crowdfunding, but with emails. Like we're trying something new about how to get downloads from a Kickstarter-like video. Because we think asking for help and this whole personal thing of Kickstarter movies is exactly the thing for parents, for moms. Because like it's very personal. It's not like this cold. And that was the first. The second, regarding government funding, I don't know. Like it's difficult. I don't know. Maybe I'm stupid.
No, it's very bad.
No, it's like there is a bad reputation. There is bad reputation. I need to start, like once I started, and then I went to, I don't know, not Deloitte, the other guys here. Ernst & EY. And they're like sitting, and yeah, you need to have חדשנות טכנולוגית. And then you're starting to build a combina around what is חדשנות טכנולוגית. And like, I needed to move fast. You know, I didn't have a salary. I'm like without salary, 2 kids, mouths to feed. What do I have time to now convince someone that I'm doing something innovative? And I'm doing UX, right? I'm doing UX and like, what is my innovation? I'm a photo sharing app. This is the most difficult thing to explain to people. Even today, a lot of people don't get it. A lot of times. By the way, another problem I had, like it was a small one, but a lot of male investors didn't get it. Guys. And then when they talked with their wives got it. So again, as the previous presentation, this was in my adaptation for the algorithms, as far as I see it, on Running Lean, which I really recommend reading. And I really recommend talking with this guy on Clarity FM. Clarity FM is amazing. Like, invest the money in learning from people that are really experienced in this stuff. If you want to know where Yoovi is today, so we launched this private beta on August, which we learned a lot of things. One of the things we learned was that we have to have Android in order to really launch. Eventually, we didn't launch, like we didn't make a lot of noise. We waited for the Android version to finish and to iterate on the iPhone version, which is now launching in the few days, like both of them on iOS and Android. iOS 7, by the way, unfortunately, only. And Android. And like on February 15th, no, 16th, we're going to launch like this social campaign with a video and a Kickstarter, like a lot of PR, and we'll see if it works. I actually have a lot of material for a new presentation. Like a lot of mistakes we've done after this great start. We've really done a lot of mistakes. For example, even though we didn't have an Android version, on retrospective, I would have launched in August because we a bit lost touch with our customers in the time writing the Android and rewriting the iOS version. We made a lot of mistakes. But I say I'm a long-term player. So I'm learning from it and improving. And in the end, the things I know and my skills will be bigger than the mistakes I do. And I think Yoovi will be strong, but we'll see in February 15th. This is my blog. This is Yoovi's Facebook page. This is Yoovi, by the way, my daughter. And thank you. Any other questions? Yes?
How will you monetize this?
So our assumption is printing, which is funny. All the investors are saying, no, what about, let's put a limit on the number of photos. Like everybody's thinking, okay, the question was, how will we monetize? So the answer is printing. And another interesting thing is that all the investors think it's a bad idea because they didn't talk with the moms. I know for a fact that printing is hot stuff. Like printing is crazy for mostly for moms. It has a lot of added value on virtual photos. It's a present you can give someone. It can be on your wall. Like nobody really figured out yet. Maybe we will. Albums in the US, postcards is crazy, and also these canvases, and it's a crazy, and it's actually one of the most developing industries. Everybody's thinking print is dead, but no. The secret is it's not dead. It's really kicking because there are a lot more photos, and it's crazy. So I really believe, I actually have a feeling that only when we finish doing printing will we really finish the product. Because it's not only a business model, it's a real need. But Yoovi today already, with the help of JPEG Mini, which is a great service for compressing photos while saving their quality, we store all the photos in high quality on our servers because we know when we'll add the printing, we want to support everything, all the desires of our customers. Yes?
How did you find your investors?
This is a secret.
The question was, how did I find my investors? Well, that was one of the benefits of the junction. In the junction, one of the things they do is actually they bring their network of investors. In the last day of the junction, there is something called the demo day, which is all the investors come, and there's like 10 companies present here their startups. All the investors use checkboxes, and then the junction does the introductions, which is really convenient because then the meetings you do are really simpler. You don't come and present the idea from start. That person already saw your presentation. You're now just reminding him and already talking tachlis. So that was really helpful. And also Genesis, which is also a part of the junction, they also invested. 100.
So many of these apps, we use Cluster for our office. It's a collaborative photo album application for cool photos in the office. And eventually we don't use it. So my question is, how are you going to tackle the fact that moms will start using it, but then abandon it because they will eventually use WhatsApp and popular stuff?
So the question was, it started with an example about Cluster and how this fine gentleman uses Cluster today, started using Cluster with his office pals, and then stopped, like they weren't a retained customer. And how are we going to tackle retention problem? So it's a great question. I think retention is the key for a successful app. For us, is also proving a viral coefficient bigger than 1, which are actually the 2 goals. We have very simple metrics. All the company is built around these 2 metrics. Viral growth factor above 1, like this is our goal, and retention that we measure by DAO divided by MAU. You know what I'm daily active again?
What is your magic number?
Above 25%, 20-25%. That's our goal. Yeah. So how are we going to do it? You haven't seen Yoovi, so like, do you want to get into the mechanics of the product? We think that the right notification in the right place can do a lot of difference, like a notification about who saw your pictures, not only about likes or comments. We focus on parents, which gives us and we think an advantage on Cluster. By the way, Cluster is our direct competitor, totally. They raise more money. They're like faster now, and they already have web. Yeah, but they're more wide. We made also a decision about the way you onboard and the way you invite people. We have a huge advantage above them. We're more focused on it. I don't want to tell them all our secrets, but I don't know. We have like, but this is one of the biggest concerns and problems.
Why did you choose 25% as the download?
You ask around. Twitter has 33 or 40% now, when they're crazy. So you know.
Okay, sorry for all the questions. Do you consider a daily active user as a user that enters the application, or as a user that is uploading a photo, commenting on it?
So the question was, how do I measure an active user, a daily active user? Is it only by the fact that he's logging in, or also that he does a specific action? Well, I started in the beginning. I started measuring only viewed photos, or only added photos. Like these are the 2 basic functions of Yoovi. But I found that they're really almost identical to login, so it doesn't matter. Like somebody enters the app, he either sees a photo or uploads a photo, or is bored, just entered and got away. So maybe I'll have a small.
Thanks.
What do you think is your competitive advantage, or do you plan to have any competitive advantage? And how far?
Against who?
Pardon?
Against who?
Against anyone.
Each one has a different. Against each.
And it's connected to the next question about WhatsApp, for example. How long would it take them to imitate you and do the same thing?
Okay, great question. The question was, what is my competitive advantage? And the second question was, how long would it take WhatsApp to imitate us? So it's a great question, actually, which I thought about it a lot. So regarding our competitive advantage, well, it's really different. I mean, against who you compare. If you compare Facebook, so we're private and much like you can create ad hoc shared albums really easily from your address book. You don't need to. Every
question, do you plan to develop any sustainable or unfair advantage against anyone that would like to compete with you in the future? That includes Facebook or...
I feel like it's a trick question. Basically my unfair advantage would be a network, which I'm now working really hard to build as fast as I can, by creating the best experience possible for our users, by retaining them, and by making the app as viral as hell, while I'm bombarding the world with a lot of PR and crazy stuff that I want to do, in order to build my network so fast that Facebook, that has said that in 2014 they're going to release a lot of standalone apps, and anyone else that would come to the market, I would block them. I also think that adding integrated printing service really differentiates me from everybody, because parents need printing and young kids, college students, or people that have albums for their workplace don't need it. And so it would be a problem for services like Cluster, I think, to add, or WhatsApp, to add printing. My focus on parents, I think, is I will have so much features that are specific for them that it will be really difficult for other services that aren't focused on parents to compete with me on the parent segment. We're going to do a content marketing move that basically I think the way to market customers in 2014 isn't to advertise for them. It's actually to create your own publication like Ynet. So it starts as a blog, but my vision is to create an amazing publication with really serious journalists that write really interesting stuff, and also could be even funny stuff, but for parents. And I really want to take over the category of parents. Really, I just see it as an infrastructure for me as an entrepreneur. I already have other ideas for apps for parents. I know I found out other problems that I am sure exist. I plan to build I think in April, Yoovi will launch another app, not called Yoovi, called another name, that is free, doesn't have a business model, doesn't have a distribution model. We know it's going to solve a huge problem that parents have. We already have it halfway ready. The whole idea of the app isn't the app. It's a marketing technique for Yoovi.
So why don't you position yourself as a social marketing network for parents and then
social marketing parents?
Social network
for parents. I think it's a wrong position. Yeah, Yoovi in the beginning was called Kiddies. It was called Kiddies, but parents, the whole picture thing, sometimes you take you travel with other parents and you need to exchange photos just for the exchange. So I felt constraining Yoovi, for example, putting on the app fields like put your kid's name. We don't have that. It's an example, but you can do whatever you want. I don't want to, make it too small. By the way, maybe I'm wrong.
It's very wide. I would put that at least as a milestone in the future, because I think that the social network for parents is wider than pictures for parents.
But I don't want to do it. I didn't find a problem for parents. That's WhatsApp for me. I don't want to, WhatsApp is my real competitor on pictures. My competitor, by the way, is WhatsApp, not Cluster. They're a startup. I'm also a startup. Who will win? I don't know. Time will tell. My competitor is WhatsApp. I want to take this use case that families open a WhatsApp group for their kid. I want them to stop because WhatsApp sucks for it. WhatsApp is an instant messaging app with an instant messaging protocol underlying. They don't host your pictures. If you add people to the group after you uploaded 1,000 pictures of your kid, you now add your dad. No more pictures. He won't see the past because WhatsApp isn't built for it. By the way, it's a protocol thing. Also, think about how difficult you asked, how will I prevent WhatsApp from doing this? I don't know. I can tell you this. For WhatsApp to focus on parents, they will lose other audiences. I think that's an interesting. Yes.
I think you have to change your concept of kids. It's good for anybody. The picture, not only.
I agree. By the way, we have users using Yoovi for cat pictures.
Of course.
Yeah, but but my positioning and messaging is for parents.
Not true. You started with a basic idea, just like you were looking what to do with your kids, and you end up doing something else. You have an application, a very good application. You save pictures and share.
One last question, could we?
I wanted to ask, what are the problems you feel you're facing right now, and how can we help?
Well, if there is I want you to do two things. Okay, the question was, what are my problems right now, and how you guys can help me? So, just help us launch right. When we launch on February 16th, I will publish it on the Meetup group. I would really appreciate it if you would just share a specific post I will publish on Yoovi's Facebook page. If you could also send it to parents' mailing lists, like if you're part of a kindergarten, you have a mailing list, if you could somehow send it to other parents by mail, it will also be great. Our launch procedure, by the way, is this. We have a video, we have a website. I'm going like, people like you, a lot of people want to help us. It's amazing. It's one of the amazing things happening in Yoovi. I really appreciate it. We want like to get 30,000 shares at least. Then after we get that, start a lot of blogger outreach and PR, and like that's how we, yeah. Thank you.